Ichigo's inner hollow white is easily one of the most epic, bombastic, coolest parts of the series. There are parts of it that are still a mystery, and one thing that I never even considered to be a mystery, but now that's rattling my head, is why did White bite Misaki and not bite Isshin? I never really even thought of this as a question, or why it would even be an interesting question. It just seemed to me, like at the time, that White was just this crazy experimental primal hollow by Aizen, so of course it's just this insane beast that will just attack who's on the battlefield. But that's really not the case. Aizen states how White was created and at the time was in the stage where he was focused on transmitting hollification into a Shinigami through infection. And as we know, White ends up spreading the infection to Masaki through the bite. But when you look back at the battle, White was sent there to infect the Shinigami, and he was fighting Isshin for quite a while. Granted, he was struggling with Isshin, and Masaki kind of pulls up and shoots some surprise arrows, and it seemed like to me for the longest time, well, of course he bit Masaki, because she was stationary, and she kind of surprised and interrupted their battle, and maybe White is more like a beast, and he can't really differentiate, or really even understand, so he's just attacking someone on the battlefield. But that doesn't really seem to be the case. Aizen specifically says that the soul of White is made from a pair of Shinigami. I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of translation issue there, because we definitely know that White was made from multiple souls of pair of Shinigamis, but all the same, no need to nitpick. But in general, even Isshin points out multiple times how he doesn't even know what to make of White. How White is kind of confusing him and blurring the lines between the Hollow and Shinigami, solely through fighting style. And in my first read through I thought, well, maybe White just got attracted to Masaki instantly because he could tell that she was a Quincy, and White being primally confused with the spirit of the Hollow and multiple Shinigami maybe saw the Quincy and thought, well, this is my real enemy. But upon further investigation, that's definitely just not the case, and there definitely is some specific reasons why Masaki may have been chosen. But one thing you really see is when she is bitten, and this is one of the main tells, that she is not afraid of White. Even upon the first read, it was so strange seeing how she was looking at White with almost sadness, and almost as if she wanted to cure what felt like loneliness from the Hollow. There's actually a weird parallel in this fight. Orihime was actually bit in the same exact fashion, trying to embrace the Hollow in the same way that Masaki was bit by White. While Orihime is almost able to change her brother back for a short amount of time, simply because she's able to emotionally connect with him and get the inner soul in him to calm down, as opposed to being controlled by the Hollow. And we definitely see that from Orihime later on in the series, with the whole connection with Ukiura, really getting him to understand the importance of courage and love, kind of mixing together to create motive and human ambition, and it just really shows that Masaki and Orihime are the characters in the story who are the ones who can understand the inner feelings, especially when it comes to Hollows, the beings who really are devoid of that extra sense of emotion and love. Now obviously we don't get too much deeper insight into White. Isshin goes to save Masaki, and he kind of just insta-KOs White, so we really don't get any of that possible deeper narration on the emotions of the Hollow and any of those possibilities. But to me, and this may be a bit of a reach, but it seemed like to me that the souls of the pair of Shinigamis were almost reaching out to Masaki in a way that maybe they wanted to be protected, or felt like she would understand, or something of that sort. The look that Masaki gives to White almost runs parallel to the same look that Ichigo gives to Yuha at the end of the series as he slays him, and he just almost looks into his eyes with almost sadness, but understanding of why he felt the way he did. And he especially has that same look as to when he beats Aizen, and he really gives that whole monologue about Aizen being lonely and wanting someone to defeat him to be able to understand his power. Masaki really gives off that same strange emotional understanding that Ichigo has, but obviously it seems like it was passed down to him almost. This even adds to why Ichigo is such a mama's boy. I mean, the soul that he was born from, essentially, was already being nurtured and protected, and just already found its solace inside of Masaki long ago. It was already saved from continuing to be an experiment, or from just being a weapon that someone could just use. And on the other note of White being more of a primal beast type of hollow, and really not being able to discern enemy, friend, foe, and kind of just attacking who's on the battlefield, while it may have been that, and I may be, kind of coming out of left field with Masaki understanding and things like that, it really could be the case that he's just a monster and just saw someone. And we did see that when Ichigo turns into White and he's around Uryu. But at the same time, the only reason I don't think this is the case is because so many things in Bleach have a meaning. On top of, when we see other Menos at this level in the story, maybe White is not best to Lorde level at this time or anything like that, but just in general, we've seen other Hollows at this same level. We've seen Grimjaw when he was in Adhuchas. We've seen him speak to his friends. We've seen his friends make a logical decision to essentially give up their lives to help him grow. Adhuchas, or just Menos in general, are definitely mentally capable and not so blinded by rage or just so confused and so primal that they can't make actively smart decisions. So overall, this may sound a bit cheesy, a little cliche, but I think White actively bit Masaki because, in a way, part of the hollow inside of him, part of the Shinigamis, part of their souls were able to sense the loving, understanding soul of Masaki.
This is real.